everybody, Richard Neese here with Weichert Realtors of Space Place. We appreciate you guys tuning in to the new and improved real estate rundown. We're actually in our Hartselle office today. We've got Bear Willingham with us today, the Revenue Commissioner in Coleman County. And Bear was actually on the show with us on the radio show on WKUL today. And the reason we wanted to bring him on today is because we've got some important things coming up. If you guys didn't know, the fiscal year is going to begin October 1st. And what that means for you is, well, we'll talk about it here in a minute. Dominic, I appreciate you getting everything set up. I know you've been putting all this stuff up behind us, getting it ready to go. It's looking good. Thank you so much. Do you have it where we can flip and they can see you yet? Not today. Okay, so he's actually behind the camera. I know Catherine's good with that today, but like I said, anyways, we appreciate all you guys getting on here. We got Kerrigan Armstrong, Kim Smith, Raven Abbey, Rigo Garcia, Nathan Lewis. Thank you guys. Please share, please comment, please like. We started the real estate rundown about 1.5 years ago, and it was a way for us to give you information. I started seeing all these first-time home buyer things pop up, and I realized we could have a first-time home buyer seminar every week, essentially, by giving you the information to make you a better buyer, a better seller. If you're an investor, we can help you with that. We've had closing attorneys come on and talk about auctions on the courthouse steps. We've had home inspectors come on. Barry's been on a couple of times for us. And usually we kind of get you, I think last year it was closer to January when we got you on there, because we were talking about tax sales.
Yeah. And our tax sale law has actually changed, so we can talk about that.
Well, good, yeah. We didn't grab that today, so we can talk a little bit about that. The first and most important thing I want to talk about, though, was homestead exemptions. Mm-hmm. But let's you go ahead and introduce yourself. I've already given everybody your name, obviously, but tell the folks what you do.
Well, I'm your Coleman County Revenue Commissioner. I've actually been in office. I was elected in November of 2008. Took office May 1st, 2009. So, this coming next year will be 10 years in office.
Yes, sir.
Kind of worked in the revenue office in 3 different counties for over the last 25 years. So.
And you were just telling us stories about every single county and back roads and different zip codes. And it's amazing how much data that you guys actually collect, whether it's in Coleman County, Winston County, and some other places.
Oh yeah, it's one of those things that working in other counties, same people, just different names.
Yeah, I got you. Same good people, and I know, how many people do you have at your office right now?
Well, right now we have the main courthouse, and then we have our 3 satellite offices. We got one at Baileyton, the Hansville Town Hall, and then the Dodge City Town Hall. And we have 28 full-time employees. We have 2 or 3 part-time, some seasonal work too. So right now, on hand, everybody's there at work. We're about 31 people. So
oh wow!
If I got elected, we had 45. So there's a little.
You trimmed down and doing more with it too. That's pretty incredible. I know a lot of folks are sitting there thinking, you guys send out tax notices. What else do you do? They may not realize how many tax notices you guys have actually sent out. You were telling me something about 80,000 pieces of mail?
Well, we have, roughly a little over 50, right at 53,000 parcels. And then we have, personal property where if you have a business, you file on your personal property rendition. So any piece of equipment. So we deal with that. And I deal with the car tax side. Manufactured homes, we do casual sales tax and transferring titles between individual to individuals. So it's multifaceted. We just don't do real estate.
You guys got a ton of stuff going on every day. We got a lot of folks jumping on here. Let me give a few shout outs. Matthew Carroll, got my wife Catherine Neese, Chris Pitts, Patrick Cook, Samantha Williams, Sarah Parvin. You may see some folks on there too that I might not be friends with. Not because I don't want to be, just not on Facebook. Right. So if you want to give a shout out to any of those folks,
I see Danny White, our watermelon man. He's on there. He had the record there for a while in the state of Alabama for his watermelon. He's got some big ones growing right now, right on Battleground Mountain.
Is that right?
So, yeah.
I've got anything you want to shout on Facebook.
That's all right. I know you know Brittany and Jared Hopper.
Oh yeah.
Noreen Sullivan. Thank you guys for getting on here. Please like, please share, please comment. We're talking about taxes today. We're talking about real estate taxes, and we're going to get into some other stuff as well. Some cool stuff about exemptions that I wasn't familiar with, and you enlightened us on. And then I'm excited to hear about the tax sale too. So tell us a little bit about how the process works for homestead exemptions, because that's what a lot of my customers deal with when they buy a house. They want to make sure they get that tax break.
Well, you're just talking about October 1, our lien date. That is a crucial date for us because October 1 is basically our cutoff. anything that's on the property, whoever owns the property, whatever highest exemption you qualify for on October 1 is then set for the next collection period. So any assessment that you want to make as of October 1 is due by December 31st. So if you have a house that you've just recently built or moved into and that's your primary residence as of October 1, you need to file for that exemption
And how
before
do
the
they
end
do
of the
that?
year.
How do they file for it?
You can actually come to any of my offices. You can go to the satellite offices, come in. If the deed's already recorded, we have a copy of that in the system already, or we can pull it into our system. So, basically we just need to make sure we get a signature.
I got you.
You're basically swearing an affidavit that this is your home, this is your primary residence, and you are claiming no other exemption in any other counties.
And something I want to hit on that real quickly too. You guys, I imagine you have a pretty good relationship because I know as soon as the deeds get recorded, you guys have that access.
We have access, and the next day we always take all the deeds and pull them into the system, print them off, and start working them from there.
And a lot of folks aren't really familiar with the tax system, and they're really missing out. I'll tell you that because that's a tool that I use in personal investing. I use it for real estate. Sometimes if I forget somebody's address and I need to send them some mail, I can do it the same way.
Everything we do in the office on the real estate side is public information. Now we don't publish like some of the homestead information that we do gather based on incomes and things like that. But you can go to ColemanRevenueCommissioner.com. And there's a button to online property searches, and that's where we utilize to do a search. And if you want to pay your property taxes online, there's a slight fee for using a credit card. Buy your car tags online. We pull that data.
I didn't realize we could do that. Did you hear that, honey? We're not going up to the courthouse anymore. we got that taken care of.
Yeah. So.
Well, good deal. On that, what I was trying to transition to is that you guys do a great job of having that information available.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually looking on another county's website today at Madison County, and I didn't have access to all of the information you put on there, like deeds. I've seen surveys on there. I've seen all sorts of things, pictures, and we talked about that. And that comes in handy because occasionally, believe it or not, realtors don't put the right address on their houses.
No.
I'll pull it up and I'll say, okay, this doesn't match the picture. We need to figure out what's going on here.
As much information that we have in the office, we try to push it out online. And the way our system works now, when somebody goes and actually polls the system through ColemanRevenueCommissioner.com, and there's an online property search button, again, October 1 is kind of our lien date, so we only publish information as far as ownership as of that date. But as we add documents or we add information as far as sketches or photos, they're instant. As soon as I put them in the system, you can actually view them online.
That's awesome, and I use that resource all the time. We got several folks on here. Susan Black, I appreciate you getting on. Mike Griffin, Tammy Busby, Brecken Smith, Logan Griffin. We got Caleb Barksdale, Kristen Shoemaker. I appreciate you guys getting on here. Please like, please comment, please share. If you have a question about the website that you guys have, what website do you use?
Well, ColemanRevenueCommissioner.com is where you go to, and you can, like I said, it goes and hits our site internally directly. There's a button there to view our GIS information.
Absolutely.
So you can search an address. It gives you a kind of an approximate location where a property's at. You can search by an owner's name. You can search by if you have a PIN number or parcel number already. So if you've got information from MLS records, you can go right to it. And so aerial photography's out there. So
people take that they take that for granted because I was on the Madison site today, and there were 4 different GIS sites to go in to get different information off of. So to have that one site is huge. I know you're constantly upgrading. What was it, about 2 years ago that you went from one system to another? I don't remember what the old Delta, wasn't it?
We were on what's called an AS400 system. It's the kind of a system. It's been around a long time. There's still a lot of banks that use it, and we've come off that, and we're on more of a Windows-based system. A lot easier to train new people on it because command line and green screen. Nobody really knows what those function keys are meant for, but there's a lot of.
Nobody remembers it, that's for sure. So we were talking about exemptions, and I know that one was the homestead exemption. Let's talk about something that we did. We talked about today, which was the exemptions for
over 65 and disability exemptions. The first qualifier we talked about too is we only have 2 tax classes in the state of Alabama. We have a 20% tax class and a 10% tax class, and it's black and white. To have a 10% tax class, You have to be an owner-occupied single-family dwelling, or it could be a historical property, or if it's used for agricultural. That has to be first qualified to then qualify for a homestead exemption. So to get a an over 65 exemption is pretty simple. You're over 65 as of October 1st. What happens is you're exempt on all the state portion of your property taxes. So our property taxes are broke down into state, county, school, and then we have city tax. So just being over 65, as long as it's your primary residence, all the property is contiguous, it's less than 160 acres. If it's over 160 acres, then you got to pay on the balance of the acreage.
Okay.
But the state portion, just being over 65, gets you exempt on the state portion. We have two other types of exemptions. It's based on your age plus your income. So we have the first one. There's two ways to be exempt. Is first, you can be not filing federal income tax return, or if you do file a federal income tax return and your federal taxable income is less than $12,000, then you're exempt from property taxes.
Okay.
Now, if those items are over $12,000 federal, we have another exemption. And what happens is you're exempt on the first $50,000 of your property value, and it's based on your state income taxes. So either if you don't file a state, or if your adjusted gross income is less than $12,000 on your state, you're exempt from exempt on the first $50,000.
And the great thing is, if you guys didn't catch all this,
Yep.
Barry's actually doing. And how long have you been doing the outreach to the senior?
Well, this is I guess my 9th year of doing it. I go around to all the senior centers. Actually, today was my last stop at the Simcoe Center. So started at Cold Springs, worked my way around all, because we have part-time centers and we have full-time centers.
Right.
So we got some centers that only meets once a month, and we got some centers that meets one day a week, and then we have the ones that meets every day. So made my ways around through all of them. So now, right now we've finished it up. I think there's 17 or 18. Like I said, I got a reoccurring calendar that happens.
And so you're going to these centers and you're letting these folks know exactly what you just said. Probably
Yep.
bringing some forms or breaking it down and saying this is how you set this up.
Yep.
Can you do that there, or are you telling them you need to go up to the satellite centers?
Well, the one thing that when I go out to it, the way I time it is we send out our exemption renewals in September
Okay.
for our October 1 lien day. So just like today at the Simcoe Center, I helped the lady fill her form out. She had it with her, so we filled it out and I took it back.
So you're
to the
doing
office.
17 between September and October, or
Yeah,
all
for-
year round?
No, for the month of September.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I was thinking, well, you kind of stretch that out, but it's in
Yeah.
1 month. So
1 month.
every other day you're going to a different senior center.
Actually, some days, I'll hit 2 in the day. So like, yesterday I went to Hilltop. I was at Hilltop Center, which is right down from Vigal Village, right behind the new
Yes, sir.
Chambers feed. I went there like at 9:30, and then I was at Fairview at 10:30. So it takes about 15, 20, 30 minutes, depending on how many questions you get. But now we do have another type of exemption that's not based on your age, that is actually considered a disability exemption.
Okay.
And so there's several different ways to qualify for a disability exemption, and it's not based on income. There's no income limitations on a disability exemption. And we look at 3 or 4 different ways. If you got a red, white, and blue card, so you got a Medicare card,
Right.
that's the effective date is prior to you turning age 65, or you have an awards letter from Social Security, or you could have 2 doctor's affidavits. The affidavits are provided by the Department of Revenue. Or if, let's say, you're retired military. Retired military, you could be 60, 70, 80%. But as long as it states that you're unemployable, that's considered totally and permanently disabled. If you're drawing an annuity, an insurance annuity through a disability, you can actually draw this also. So basically, and it's one of these things that you have to renew every year, because we don't know your status as far as income on your age, but we got to make sure the person that qualified last year is who's qualifying for it this coming year.
I got you. And I know we're throwing a lot of information out to you guys. Is there a way that they can look on the website for these
Exemptions? Oh yes, we have on our ColemanRevenueCommissioner.com website that you can go. There's real property, and it talks about exemptions and breaks them down. We have a calculator out there for taxes also, and it explains which type of exemption, and it breaks down which ones are age exemption, what's the income limitations, and you can put in, on our calculator, you can put in the value and what tax district you're in and what type of exemption you may qualify for, and it tells you how much you estimate taxes
That's
are.
great. I mean, having that resource at the really you can utilize that anytime. And I've done it many a times where I put the kids to bed and it's 9:30 at night and I'm going and looking at properties and see who owned it before, what the taxes are. You know, kind of doing a preliminary search on it so that I know for my buyers what we should be doing on it.
Yeah, we have the actually payment tax history all the way back to 1996. One of the things also, if you ever come across a property and you got a big old red bar at the top that says this property may be subject to a tax sale, even if the property is redeemed, this is one of the things my people that do title searches request is because if a property ever sells in a tax sale, even when it's redeemed, they got to include that information in their title search to show that it was redeemed.
Interesting.
So you can't get some people scared when I get a call from a bank. This property's showing is subject to a tax sale, and if you look on the tax payment side, it actually lists all the payments all the way to 1996.
And I've searched some of those and gone all the way down to that. A lot of folks, believe it or not, have that, and I know you believe it, over 20, 30 years worth of the taxes with the same person. We got a bunch of folks still jumping on here. Jacob Vest, Brandon Patterson, Tony Kreider, Katie Harbin, Aaron Ayers, Constance Tritt. Thank you guys so much for getting on. Please like, please share, please comment. One thing I did want to ask you about, since you brought it up a few minutes ago, is what are some of the changes to the tax law? But I guess first off, talk about what a tax sale is, and then what's changed.
Well, last year was hopefully, in my term, is the last time we'll actually do a tax sale in the traditional manner. And prior, the tax sale was the bidder would come in and they could bid up the value that they want to bid up to 15% of the property value plus the taxes. Well, there was a provision in the law that allowed us to do a tax lien sale, and we had a couple of officials, one from Baldwin County and Shelby County. They actually took the time and flew out to Arizona and witnessed how they did a tax sale. And what they do is what's called a tax lien sale. In the prior years, the tax sale auction, you actually acquired the property, but you had to go through almost like a foreclosure process of, and you could collect rents and things like this. Where this way, it's basically the fees and penalties and interest all the day of the tax sale. Let's say it's $500.
Right.
The first bid can be 12% if they choose to, or 0%. We'll take 12 bids, bidding the interest rate down. So if it's an heirs property of any kind like that, so the first bid could go, I'll take it for 0. You come and you pay me the taxes. If the taxes are, if somebody comes in and pays the taxes or tries to pay the taxes October 1, then that has to be redeemed. And so the tax sale purchaser then is made whole from what they bid. Now, let's say you bid it and I'll take it at 8%. Well, then you earn 8% on that $500. Well, when it comes back around and the tax is not paid, that first Tuesday in May when we have our tax sale again, you have first option at 8%. You pay the taxes. So 3 years from the day of the first tax sale, you have an option to go straight to circuit and quiet your title. It'd actually be a lot more, it'd be a cleaner process. They won't be as high as bids, and the excess bids won't get up there so much where we've had some people that's not been able to redeem their properties because the interest gets so high.
Sure, absolutely.
So you get a $10,000 bid, or we've had properties go $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Well, that's 12% interest they got to pay on that
amount.
That's a lot of money.
That's right, and it really puts the person that's probably in a bad spot anyway in a worse spot. So that sounds like it's a good improvement. Is there somewhere we can read about that?
We actually on our news section of our website, we have all of it spelled out, and we've obviously on our Facebook page we got we're one of there's several counties, but I think we were one of the first counties in the state that had a Facebook page. We put a lot of information out there. Coleman RevenueCommissioner.com again. We try to share information about what's going on in the office. New law changes. Hey, if you're your name begins with this. It's time to renew your car
Right.
tags, things like that. So
That's great information. And one thing I do like about the way that you run your shop is any information that you have, you try and put out there.
oh yeah,
Because it's public anyways.
public information.
But if you make it harder to get to, it just makes most people's lives more difficult. And I think that protects the few instead of protecting the many.
oh yeah.
And that's my personal opinion on it. I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate the service. I know you've got a few years left on this term, and I'm sure you'll be up for another one. I hope you are.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
done a great job.
Yeah, I'll run one more term at least.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I appreciate you coming
Oh,
on the
no
show.
problem. Thank you.
So much. You guys, I appreciate you watching. I hope you guys have a great night.
That went fast. We're done.
Not yet, not yet.
Oh, is this?